Hello, like-filled souls. Today's topic is the importance and the art and the best way to let go and know that you're spiritually supported in that process. So, the first thing that I want to announce is that the summit was amazing. Thank you for all of those who tuned in to the live versions or purchased the pre-recorded videos. For those of you who purchased the videos, I just sent you an email about reminding you how to access them, and also just a note of thanks and kind of summing up some of the things I'm going to say in this video. This is my last summit, so I've discounted the price even more, and I just want you to see some of these videos. And I might put a few of the recordings on my podcast, and I might keep the live link for the first day out there so you can continue to see at least that first day. But the second, third, and all the pre-recorded videos are in the portal. And if you use the coupon code last summit 40, and then you will get a really good discount on this package. And I will also just upload as much as I have on this computer from past summits so that there will be additional videos to go back and look at. I really want you to enjoy this year all of these videos and know that it's the last time I'm doing this. And why do I have to give this up? I can't sustain it. So I'm not independently wealthy, and this just didn't bring in the amount of income that makes it sustainable. So there are other things I can do with my time to sustain my life. And one of them is teaching writing in the summer. That's what my profession is. And, other things as well. I'm not even going to go into that and tell you too much about my life, but I want to keep spreading light in the ways that I do, volunteer in real ways in the community in the ways that I do, but I can't do this anymore. And I'm also slowing way down on videos on YouTube. I will still do a few interviews here and there, but I'm definitely taking a break in this area as well. So why is it so hard to let go? And how could a near-death experiencer have trouble letting go? I mean, I let go of this physical form and it was easy. It was like birth into a new experience that was exciting and new. And honestly, I didn't even want to come back to this body that much. The experience over there was so beautiful and so enlivening. It's so weird that death felt so alive to me, just ecstatically alive. So I didn't expect that about death, and it surprised me. Sometimes loss transitions into that after grief. Sometimes it doesn't. And so I want to just tear apart some common losses and also share some wisdom from the pre-recorded speakers and my own knowing about loss, because I've suffered a lot of loss in life. So, everything from the loss of pets, friendships, relationships, goals, dreams. There's so much that we lose along the way, even eventually our health and our lives. So how do we stay in gratitude and stay in that beautiful place of being in tune with nature, in tune with spirit, and open to the newness that enters our life? Well, let me explain a couple of ways. And first, I want to begin with some losses that maybe you don't ever fully recover from. So Dr. Sharon Prentice talked with me in one of the pre-recorded videos about losing a child. And oh man, the healing is the spiritual healing. It's what comes through on that realm and helps people help others and feel connected to others. And that healing is so beautiful. And I've talked with so many parents who've lost kids, and eventually that community and how they help other parents is one of the ways that they find healing. But are they ever, quote, fully over that, even if they have a communication with their child in the afterlife and develop that skill as a medium? I think it's still a struggle at times. Maybe there are some people who can say they're fully recovered, but for a lot of people, there isn't enough time, to process some loss. So what do? You are grateful for what you have. You make the best of what you have. You reach out and help others. You stay in service. You are kind to yourself. You really help yourself recover through various ways, all the ways that are right for you, finding that supportive community, therapy, mediums. There's so many different ways, but you put your own priority of healing ahead of anything else. And I can tell you the wrong way is to get drunk at parties and cry about loss. Don't do that. I've observed that in the world. That's crazy making. You take your healing seriously. You talk to minister therapists, people who have been through this, communities, and they show you how to heal, or at least how to begin that journey. The loss of friendships, sometimes people are just in our life for a time and then we just don't vibe on the same level anymore. And it's easier for the person who realizes that than the person who's been left behind. The same thing with romantic relationships. There's a great primal need, for people to have someone. And ironically, you have to get rid of that need to actually have someone. And that was a conversation that Aaron Abka and I had in the pre-recorded section. He talks a lot about the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine. And his advice to anyone seeking a relationship is to be fully self-sustaining and to let go of that ego that you have to have one. You don't. Like, you really don't. And I think when you're 100% over the grief and really the mourning that maybe you will never find a partner that is right for you and compatible with you, that's when ironically you're more open to finding that soulmate who is compatible. So there's a lot of recordings from people who are experts in narcissistic abuse recovery. Lisa Romano, Griselda Pacheco has amazing things to say about stoicism, hermetic principles, and really both Lisa Romano and Griselda Pacheco talk about that power of logic, because if you're too caught in emotions, and many of us can be, you have to find that thread of logic that takes you to another place. And you look down and you go, what are my best options right now? In the middle of grief, it's usually about taking care of yourself. And so your commitment to yourself has to be so profound, like on a logical level, on a feeling level, on all levels. Like your commitment to your survival, your well-being, your happiness is so important. And you have to balance, that with the need of what you want in a relationship. So Lisa and I also talked about narcissistic relationships. And one of the things that people lose themselves in is when they are a feeling empathetic person, they think other people are like them. Like they really, it takes a while to realize that other people are not like that. So if someone expresses their emotions and what they're going through to me, I'm able to listen to that, even if I've played a part in it. And, I can honestly and logically say, what I'm going to do about that, but I can actually empathize, listen, and go, wow, I see your perspective. And that empathy is very healing, but you can't get that from everyone. So you will be beating your head against a wall if you keep expressing feelings to people who don't care about your feelings. And Griselda Pacheco talks more about that narcissistic spectrum. Lisa Romano talks about real narcissistic abuse from both parents and romantic relationships. The thing that Griselda says that I like is basically, and you'll just have to watch this video to see more examples from the wounded masculine, feminine, but what she says is a lot of people who are privileged or have a certain amount of power for any reason do not want to give up a single ounce of that power. So they don't want to empathize with anyone who has been victimized. They don't want to empathize with anyone they may have hurt. Through their choices, their actions. So if you are trying to appeal to someone and get that person to hear that you've been hurt, forget about it. Like, spend your time doing anything else, because it's not going to happen. And how long are you going to beat your head against that wall and try to make someone care who doesn't care? You just have to take reality for what it is and go, a person doesn't care. And I think it takes a long time to get to that place. But I look at the youth of the world, and I hope they hear this message early, and I hope they get it early and don't waste too much of their time ever trying to convince someone to care about them. People either care or they don't. And so you got to care 100% about yourself, and not in a narcissistic way, just in a I love myself, I'm carrying myself through this world, I'm moving forward. So, yeah, my relationship with the summit has been beautiful. I mean, it has just been like ecstasy, pure joy. The conversations have been so fun, and it's been wild and amazing to think that I could actually do this through technology, and I could produce this for many days. And I had the energy and the ability to sit for that long for the most part, and that people jumped in this year to support me, and I supported their channels and groups, and just a ton of fun to be connected to the spiritual community. But it isn't sustaining. So what do? You move on. You look for what is next. You look for what really sustains you and what gives you joy and what makes your life better. And maybe it won't be something public that I'm doing besides the writing group. Maybe it will be something totally different that I just keep hidden, and it's just my life and I love it. But whatever I do, I'm going to bring light to this world, and I'm going to express healing through whatever I choose. And I'm going to continue to keep teaching, of course, at the community college. But um, stoicism and logic uh, and logic really, it just can't be underestimated, on the spiritual journey. And that was such a gift and a joy to talk about with each of these people. And one thing that I learned from Lisa Romano is, when you have had a parent, for instance, who is narcissistic, at some point you have to realize, oh, I haven't only been abused, I literally didn't get the skills that I needed. And so I have to learn these skills. I didn't get the support, I didn't get the skills. How am I going to find that support and those skills? And there's so many different healing modalities. There's so much therapy that I've done, that so many people have done on this path. But how do you really integrate it all and be at this place of going, okay, I've got it now? It's partly that self-love again, of going, you know what? If I'm not perfect in this instance, at least I'm better. And at least I'm learning. And at least I'm always willing to learn and to grow, because man, it's annoying to meet people who don't learn and grow. Like, I think I think that's the point of evolution, is to keep growing and to keep being a better version of myself. And I hope that you do that as well, no matter your age. That that's the key to so much, but not everyone feels that way. So there are so many videos. Dr. Biodo, I really like talking with him as well. And this idea of letting go of a lot of what we believe in the West as a way to find greater health and greater physical health and greater, and you might hear in my voice, I have a cold and kind of run down. And when you're in those spots, you have to take better care of yourself. So his points about unlearning a lot of what we have learned in this culture and embracing the truth of what we know from ancient societies is beautiful. I think we're moving toward a future, or I hope we are, one that is more balanced with nature, and one that is also more spiritual. So I hope that's the evolutionary direction, that we're looking at all of humanity's past, maybe taking the best from each of these. And there's so much diversity, in different ways, doing this in different parts of the world and the country that you live in. But whatever the case, one of my messages from the near-death experience was remind them to go back to nature. And it's just a simple truth that I return to over and over. If I'm sick, I eat a lot more fruits and vegetables. I struggled for a while after a diagnosis, Hashimoto's, to find balance in my eating. And so I tried the keto diet for a while. I was vegan for most of my life, and I'm mostly vegan again because it works for me. That doesn't mean that it works for everyone. It works for me. And I think whatever you choose, the more in balance you are with nature, however that looks to you, the better your health will be. That, you're either making choices with what you consume, both mentally, spiritually, emotionally, relationship wise, and physically with food, death or life. And just keep choosing life, choosing abundant, healing, life giving things. And, give this to yourself on all levels. Don't choose things that harm you. That's really the basic journey for a lot of us, is to choose life and to choose sustainability. So what would I like for you to do with loss in your own life is to sit with it for a moment and think about what you've learned from near-death experiencers, and how there wasn't a moment in mine of grief, regret, wanting to return to this form, do better. Not a bit. Like there was just freedom. And if we could live that freely, just shake off the past and hey, this is the next moment. Whew, life would be a lot easier. And I realize with big losses, that's impossible, for most of us. But the thoughts we think and what we consume at that mental level and what we talk about are very powerful and profound. I'm not a I'm not a proponent of, full on 100% manifestation theories, because as many of you know, I think life is challenging for a lot of people, and that's maybe not the message they're ready for at that moment. And I think it's just a move in that right direction that helps. Like it's really easy if have an inheritance or a rich husband or wife, to say, hey, everything you created is manifested, and hey, just think positive thoughts. But if you are working your ass off in this world, barely surviving, you're brilliant and you're not making it, I think it's a little bit harder. You're like, oh my God, what am I missing? What am I doing that is not leading to the life that would make me happier and make life easier? What is the missing component? So I think people really struggle with this, but I do know that paying attention, that when I've made great shifts in my life, I have paid attention to the thoughts I'm thinking, and I have kept that goal very clearly in mind and what that feels like and the excitement around it. And I have moved toward that. Does it always execute in the perfect way in the world? No. And that's what I talk about too in the writing course is, oh, I did it for the love of it, and do your book, your podcast, whatever, for the love of it, but don't have too much expectation of where you think it's going to be, because that's ego. You're just doing, the more, it's ironic, but the more love and the more joy and the more passion you put into something, the bigger impact it may possibly make. I'm not saying it will, I'm saying it may possibly make. And that's the best place to be. And that's what creativity is pure joy, wildness, wild associations and freedom, and then hard work. And, that's another point that a lot of people come back to, like throughout being out here publicly. Many of us talk who are, in the summit and in this, just being out there with our stories. And one thing that comes up a lot is sometimes there's envy, like a young person might land on the scene and say, hey, I wrote this book with the help of my guides and angels, and now I'm ready to be an international bestseller. And overnight, and, not put in the work or not understand what it takes. And then so many of us have put in so much work, and our success is sometimes looked at, whatever level of success that is looked at with envy. And I think, no one who's doing better than you ever criticizes you, because they know how hard it is to get there and how much work it takes. And that's what kind of irritates me about manifestation theories is Yes, you can manifest a lot, but you can't discount the amount of work that it takes. And I'm opening, any blocks to making things easier and to not making them so darn hard. So, that might be a personal hang up, but in general, I know that the more successful people I know have worked very hard and have been very driven. And so, this idea of, oh, I just come on the scene and now everything just falls into place doesn't often work. And so, those types of people are often jealous of people's success, but they don't look at how much work they put into it, how much hard work, how much slogging, how many nights of giving oneself to that project. So, my goal for you with this idea of loss, whether it's a beautiful pet or a relationship or a job, is to get in that space of, when you were a child and you're about to go on a trip or to an amusement park or to the beach for the first time, how exciting it was. That's what death was like. So, whatever new chapter you're starting, it's exciting because it is new, just embrace that excitement. And even if it's a healing journey, even whatever it is, just embrace it with passion, with joy, and with gratitude, because as much joy and as much gratitude as you put into it, it will expand and it will be more than if you have expectations, have this idea of what you think it should be, in order to make some wounded part of you happy. No, just be passionate. Like if you're a creator, create. If you are doing whatever, do that with passion. So, and if it's tending to yourself through a great loss, do that with passion as well. Talk to the best minds out there, hear from them, join the best possible groups to help you really make yourself a priority. So, if you want to purchase the summit, it's $40 forever. So that's the final discount, and I'm also going to put lots of other years in there if I can, at least some of the videos from that. I'll put the link below, which is the first day, which is just free on YouTube. The second and third day are already in there. If you like audios, I know some people don't want to listen or watch video, but they can download the audio or listen while they're exercising. I'm putting as many of those audios as I can into the portal as well. So that can be a fun way to just hear from these teachers. And I want you to experience great healing from narcissistic abuse with these talks. I want you to apply some of these lessons to your life. I want your intuition to expand in beautiful ways. I want you to feel so much joy and so much happiness and power to get through what you want to get through next and to really tap into your power to manifest what comes next. So, thank you, beautiful, lightful souls. May you be blessed.